Bhaji is a word in several Indian languages, Hindi, Gujarati, and Marathi at least, meaning vegetables or greens. Culinarily, the term describes two different vegetable preparations of which I'm aware. The first is a type of fritter made with chopped vegetables, often onions, suspended in a batter of chickpea flour and deep fried, similar to a pakora. The second is as part of my own personal favorite vegetarian Indian dish, a spicy vegetable curry served with soft bread rolls called Pav Bhaji. All you folks who like to ask me if this or that counts as a sandwich, this is not really a sandwich by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm not here to convince you otherwise. The curry is generally too soft to serve inside the rolls, which are instead used for dipping and scooping. Other Indian breads, such as naan or paratha, can also be used. I particularly like the combination of bhaji with garlic naan. But as I've said before, I'm interested in the intersection of breads with other foods in whatever form I find it. And also, this dish is a personal favorite of mine. It's about time I shined a light on it. The story goes that the U.S. Civil War in the latter half of the 19th century saw a dramatic decrease in the export of American cotton, surprise, and textile mills in Mumbai ramped up their operations to meet the demand that American slave labor was no longer providing. The laborers at the mills worked long hours with only short breaks for lunch and needed cheap, filling meals quick and nearby. Street food vendors filled the gap by making a spicy curry out of mashed leftover vegetables and serving it with pav, the soft, fluffy, filling bread rolls that migrated to Mumbai along with the Goans who brought them. I first encountered Pav Bhaji at my local Indian market, the same place I first encountered other favorites like vada pav and dabeli. For some years now, I've been buying pint containers of the bhaji there from a small refrigerator near the checkout line, and bags of pav from a nearby shelf. I've been happy enough with their version that I've never really ordered it anywhere else nor even tried to make it myself. This month I changed that. A good pav bhaji has the underlying flavor of vegetables, boiled potato and cauliflower, green bell peppers and peas, flavors that are discernible, but a mild enough base that they take a distant back seat to the sweet and pungent onion, the deep and lasting umami of the tomato, the brightness of cilantro, the sharpness of chilies and the aromatic spices of the masala, clove and cinnamon, coriander and cumin, the sweet licorice of fennel and the smoky menthol of black cardamom, and the sour fruitiness of green mango powder. It all comes together into something that you almost have to taste to believe. You may think you won't like a vegetarian curry. I'll bet you're wrong. I used the last harvest of tomatoes from my garden making the bhaji. Mostly yellow beefsteak tomatoes with a little red mixed in for contrast, that I picked earlier in the month and let sweeten on the counter for a bit. My bhaji was lighter in color than many I've seen as a result. Street food stalls often serve a bright red bhaji, or so I've read, and some home cooks add a few drops of red food coloring to replicate that, but I'm not going to bother. I think my bhaji looks great as is, though, to be honest, a sloppy pot of orange and green mush is not going to win any beauty contests, that's for sure. I went through maybe just a bit too much butter making the pav, if such a thing is possible. The pav preparation is very much like a dinner roll recipe, but with a dough enriched with a little fat. Butter, in this case, of course. After thorough kneading, an initial rise, and then a secondary proofing in a buttered pan, the rolls are brushed with milk, baked until brown, and then brushed with even more melted butter. Pan toasting the pav in yet more butter before serving may seem like too much of a good thing. Gilding the lily, as they say, or in this case, buttering the buttery butter bread. But it may be the most authentic part of my pav bhaji. According to my friend Chris, who I assume was speaking metaphorically, one pav bhaji he ordered in India had so much butter on the rolls that he saw God. So I cut open the pav rolls and I spread on even more of the good, slightly tart fermented tasting almond butter that I've been using, toasted them on a griddle, and serve them with a bowl of the bhaji, along with diced red onion, chopped cilantro, and a couple wedges of lemon on the side for garnish. And now that I know how to make Pav Bhaji, and this homemade version is as good as, or maybe better than any I've ordered, including my longtime favorite version from my little neighborhood Gujarati supermarket, I never have to buy it again. I will anyway. It is, after all, my favorite vegetarian Indian dish.